So Highland Rise Podcast, I'm Shane.
I'm Glory.
It's Throwback Thursday, recorded on a Tuesday, posted on a Monday. Sorry, schedule's crazy.
We're losing it a bit. The thread has been lost.
The thread has been gone for a while, Glory.
Burned. Yeah.
Yeah, it disappeared a long time ago, but we're continuing along here with the Black Veil Brides discography. Today we're chatting about their 2014 self-titled album. We've just been going through the discography, reviewing them in chronological release order. So all the previous albums are out now. All the future ones will be out in the future. If you're watching this within the first week. After that, they're already there.
Just watch them.
Just please watch them. This record, I think it's very fitting to be the self-titled, because I do think that this is kind of where the band finds the sound that they move ahead with, kind of from this point forward. We kind of got the beginnings of where like the band kind of started to find themselves on Wretched and Divine, where it was like it started to sound a little less like their influences and a little bit more like themselves, where this record kind of extends the sound of them sounding like themselves while also then taking the first two records that sound like their influences and blending the two together to be kind of what we hear from Black Veil Brides now. It's a little bit more like hard rock slash loosely metal take on the sound that we heard from Wretched and Divine, which is why I think it's so fitting as like the self-titled, and why it's also one of my favorite records of theirs. And this little portion of their discography, like this record and the next one, is probably my favorite run. Although We Stitch These Wounds is my favorite record, this is my favorite run because it's the it's where they get a little bit heavier with things, which I appreciate because Black Veil Brides is not a super in-your-face heavy band, but there's some heavier elements, and I appreciate that on a record like this. Spent a lot of time with this album growing up. We're past the point of records that I didn't listen to because they were too long and the cover art was ugly. And we're now full steam ahead. The rest of the discography I have heard, I've studied, I know that shit. So yeah, I spent a lot of time with this record growing up, and it never had a skip for me, honestly. I listen to this shit straight through, and there's some slow songs on this record, and I never had a problem with that. I think that Goodbye Agony and Walk Away fit very well into the track list and sonically make a lot of sense on the record with the take on the slowness. I think it makes a lot of sense on the record. And I just think that this album is an incredibly solid front to back listen, and like I said, I just keep going back to Bill. Really, just is what Black Veil Brides will now be for everything that we have heard. All the stuff moving forward, because I've heard it, Glory has not, but that's kind of where this is heading sonically. Heart of Fire as the opener really sets the tone for the album. It's got a lot of power behind it, which I appreciate. Devil in the Mirror is easily my favorite song on the record. That shit absolutely fucking rocks. World of Sacrifice, another one. Last Rites is bouncy as shit. I love that song. Stolen Omen. I could just keep going. I really like this record, and that's basically where my opinion lays. I think it's a flawless listen, no skips, and shout out Black Veil Brides by Black Veil Brides.
Damn, getting the flawless title is crazy. I didn't expect that, so that's cool. That's good to hear. I thought this record was good. I definitely think it's a step up from all their other stuff. I completely agree with what you said, where they're finally kind of getting their sound and kind of stepping into their own title, their own name, and making their own sonic for themselves. Where before you could really hear the inspiration that they had. It was palatable. It was it was right there, it was front and center. Um, I think this record's great. Honestly, like I don't have too much to say about it. It didn't leave like a crazy impression on me. Granted, I didn't grow up with it, but I also feel like for a first listen, I should leave something for me. Um, Not to say it was bad, because it wasn't bad at all. I've listened to some bad Black Veil Brides. This is not it. So just to clear the air there. I think the opener is great. I think Heart of Fire, it is how it should be. It sounds like an opener. It definitely walks you into the album. It sets the tone. It does everything right for what it is. I think the closer, Crown of Thorns, I'm pairing them together because I listened to the album. I let it restart once the closer finished up. And honestly, like it ended so not abruptly because it did kind of have like it had a climax and then it kind of just like fizzled, I guess.
Mhm.
There wasn't like a really strong ending to it. It just kind of like stopped. And I went, "Oh." And then I heard, the opener start again and I went, "Oh shit, that was it just I was waiting for more to come from it. I still thought it was a really good track. I mean, I knew as soon as it started that it was the closer because it just had kind of just that epic, big, climactic sound, but it was just kind of like the last bit. Kind of I lost it a little bit. Um Drag Me to the Grave, I mean, is one of my favorite tracks off the record. I think it's high energy, it's fun. It's still kind of, I mean, they are a hard rock band, which I'm now learning is not my favorite genre, but this is still a hard rock song, but to me it kind of has like a poppier vibe to it just for how I mean this isn't the one that you said was bouncy, but just kind of how bouncy, upbeat, high energy it is. It feels like they're kind of like dipping their toe into the metalcore era with this song, and then they kind of said, all right, no, that's it. We're just gonna do the one song. You can't make me do anything else." Um I did like Goodbye Agony. I really did like Stolen Omen as well. Um, Honestly, like I'm not mad at all at this record. I think it's great. I think it is definitely one of my favorite Black Veil Brides albums so far. I really did like the last one, Wretched and Divine. That shit fucked. So honestly, like putting it immediately after that, it's kind of like it was such a high.
Mhm.
I love concept records. Dude, I throw down for that shit. So just the two, putting them next to each other, it's a little difficult, but separating it, I think it's a great album. On like really, I have nothing bad to say. I think it's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
solid.
Yeah, and I do think Wretched and Divine as an album is super hard to follow up. Not even like yes, it was super strong, and that's part of it, but it's also this big concept record with
Yeah.
all of the story that it takes you through, and following up Set the World on Fire is with that record is like, I mean that was a cakewalk.
I was gonna say that's like taking candy from a baby.
I mean
man.
that's like
Stand a
literally
chance.
setting the world on fire. That record didn't even have a shot. But following up Wretched and Divine with this, I think that this is a perfectly serviceable record.
It'll do.
It makes sense to not go the concept route again, because then you pigeonhole yourself. So it's like, well, what do we do? And they just went for they just went for it and made a really solid 11-track record that I think gets the job done and follows it up nicely, although it is very hard to follow up like a career high like that record. So yeah, I'm a fan of this one for sure. But those are our thoughts on Black Veil Brides 2014 self-titled record, also titled Black Veil Brides. Like I said at the beginning, we've been going through the discography, so if you want to hear our opinions on the rest of the albums, the ones that are already out are linked below. The rest will be released in due time, so subscribe to us here on YouTube. It helps us out a ton, and it's the only place that we post these throwback reviews. You can follow us on Instagram as Good Noise Podcast, Facebook is Good Noise Pod, TikTok is Good Noise Podcast. All the audio platforms are all Good Noise Podcast, and Patreon is patreon.com/Good Noise Podcast. Other than that, I've been Shane.
I've been Glory.
And we've been the Good Noise Podcast. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.